kind of time to restart or anything. So I'm just hoping that image is going to be enough if the sound is not going to be good for any listening and such. So yep, that's that. Sorry about the potential quality, but some things needed to be handled in the other match. A lot more important. Okay, so we are starting on Tundra, which is going to be a home map of SonsOfDurin. It's looking like that the gods are going to be quite interesting, Thor, and Oranos. Whereas on the other side, double Oranos and Ra. And I'm a bit more liking, of course, on an aggressive map like Tundra, the lineup of SonsOfDurin, as they should be having a bit more of an upper hand. But if the Ra potentially spawns into the middle, let's see, almost. Oh, this is the other team. Ah, yeah, he actually does spawn in the middle. That might turn things around quite a lot, because of course, once you are having a lot more ability for the Egyptian to defend and be defended by the Oranoses on the other side, on the sides of his, well, that might allow him to basically do the standard 2TC boom, and then he's pretty much a pain in the ass to deal with. And of course, if their opponents take a Legend Jarl, Vesursak, UV, and it's a Santana, oh, Satana, not Santana. That's just Santana, that was some kind of trumpet player, I think, from Latin America or some such. Yep. Then they need to be, of course, fast and not really allow the rat to get into the game fully boomed. Alright, let's see around the map. Seems like pretty decent hunt in the front right now for Vesursak UV. With the gold being right next to the tower, he should be pretty much fine in there. And behind his base, so far, a bit of extra hunt found by It's a Santana, but that's pretty much it for the moment. Whereas he is in his base, having the gold. Oh, sorry. Not in an awesome position, to be honest, because this could definitely be raidable from the bottom. But from the bottom, it's usually not that much of a problem for a pocket player. But still, could have been slightly better. That might be something that the opponents might be abusing with the Trumas, but we'll see about that as we are seeing that Legend Jarl's gold is definitely kinda sucky, and I'm thinking that he might want to build a temple about this position and continue with some houses to basically follow through with the wall-in, because this gold is not protected at all, and of course that's something that early game the opponents will be targeting in earnest. Looking at the other side of the map, Raven Girl is having pretty decent amount of hunt and gold on the left so far, so that's not really all that far away from his base. But since he is an Atlantean, he doesn't want to really walk all that far away, so he might be actually wanting to switch into the pocket position, like in the middle of the map, even though it's fairly unsafe. So is there something behind the bases? Oh, the Aurochs, yeah. So I think that those Aurochs are going to be the second hunt, but still a lot of walking time, so probably not going to be all that easy for him. Fortunately, a bit of lagging going on as we are looking at Skyfire, who is already having Archballista, Kirballista, LS, and Wrench. Pretty great one. Not really all that awesome, or rather useful for him. I'm thinking Bath would be pretty useful for his allies, Oranoses, so let's see if he is going to be sharing with this relic with his teammates. A lot of hunt and gold behind their bases, of course, with the TCs as well, which is expected. And the front TC from yellow player, well, not that great, even though it does kind of half recover this gold, so potentially could be useful for him in that regard. But looking at the TC of Ulfsark EOV, that's much more important and much nicer for the map control, as it's kind of literally in the middle of the map, which means that if he is able to control it, he's going to be controlling a whole lot of other parts of the map and basically where the units could be moving. And if potentially the opponents will be able to steal it, and now you can see that Superas might be aiming to discover it. He has probably already discovered it by the Oracle at the bottom. Well, fun times might be coming for the SonsOfDurin. Basically, similar is right now true on the other hand with Legend Jarl's TC, nice position, but this one from green player is also not bad, and it's from a Raven Girl. Raven Girl is going to be attempting to make that hers. I actually think that Raven Girl is really a girl. So yeah, let's see about it. Fortunately, it is laggy, but hopefully it's going to be getting a bit better, as we are going to be seeing players advancing through next ages and dropping temples at least. You can see that on the left the Thor is already through. Going to be coming, of course, through Freya. Whereas, oh, Archaic TC for Satana. That's actually a pretty clever reaction to the Ra in the pocket on the other side of the map, because he knows right now that he's gonna be having to fight against basically an Echo Boom from Skyfire. And how better to do it than to take an archaic DC. So that's a pretty clever idea and might be working for them very well, provided that the flanks, Best of Saki UV and Legend Jarl will be up to the task to defend and potentially even take the fight to the opponents. A lot of falling going on, of course. Very unsafe hunt. Luckily, so far, it probably isn't found by the opponents. They could be seeing it on through the fog of war, but otherwise, probably not. And Paddy definitely needs to be careful about it, because Supercut, or rather Super Us, and Raven Girl are a whole lot faster in the next ages, which means that the Turmas will be in their bases pretty soon. Hunter barracks, military barracks, so it's going to be one-on-one Turmas with Murmilos. Going to be building in there as he's still scouting on the right, discovering all the extra hunt and all the extra gold and such. Whereas we are seeing that Green is having basically a lookout around the bases in here, around the base of the red player, literally all around, so that he exactly sees when the Valkyrie is coming into her domain, and of course, when other units, like potentially, I don't know, some Hersiers you can see right now, and Raiding Cavalry is going to be coming up. Raiding Cavalry is probably gonna be the unit of choice for Thor. It usually is. Going for medium cavalry first, that's unusual, and I don't think it's a clever choice, because it means that you will not be getting an extra units up, and that's of course against an Atlantean who is even advancing faster than you. Not such a great idea, but since he is heavily setting himself up for the defense, it might be some kind of plan to basically defend the whole time, as we are right now going to be looking at pretty late advance for Satana, of course, because of the back TC. And we are already looking at second TC, so 2 TC faster here for Skyfire is what is going to be happening in here. In the meantime, Superas arriving with pretty much the wrong army. In Bresulsax base, you can see he's going for cavalry as well. And he isn't actually going for the mediums first. You can see that he's opting for a bit faster army, and that really could be a better choice. He's already having pretty decent amount of Hersiers, but let's see if right now the raiding cavalry, human raiders rather, will be that much more annoying for the opponent. Well, medium raiders coming for Murmilos. Not exactly sure if that's going to be a fair fight, but yeah, this is definitely a nice idea. And the speed, 528 and 550, so Valkyrie should be getting away. I can see that she slightly is, and should be pretty much fine. So she should be fine to look for potential target for the forest fire. At the back, pretty much the same at the back of Girls and Boys bases, as Besuvsark UV is just now trying to have a look around, discovering where Skyfire is gonna go for gold, and well, of course, as we are seeing Rain, that will result into Heroic Age pretty soon, as armory is also being built. So far not much really happening on the map. Superas just now having a pretty decent army, potentially arriving in Blue's base, who is going with everything into raiding. Which is interesting, of course, not a bad choice for Norse, but he needs to be careful about the gold. And being careful about the gold means researching towers. I'm fairly certain that he should be doing that no matter what, because of course he's gonna be raided. And if he can protect that gold, it will go a long way in securing his own base. Yeah, those Hersiers are probably be sticking to building anything in his base, but yeah, he is at least forcing Superas into a bit of a retreat. And well, at the top left side, Legend Jarl is doing a pretty good job with the raiding, and right now I'm fairly certain that he could be turning on those 2 more Milos and getting rid of them very easily, but he's probably content to keep them chasing behind him and not really allowing his opponent to be even regaining the population limit from them. Still leaving all 3 oracles. That's something that Legend Jarl might be coming to actually not be happy about a bit later. That's something he should be really getting rid of, because every free scouting is not a great idea, and we have seen that Satan is actually, interestingly enough, joining into the fight just now. That's a very nice shockwave. It will be getting rid of the Trumas, if it wasn't for counter shockwave. So at least those 2 are off, but that was a good idea by Satana, and definitely not any kind of mistake. Second flanker Besuvsark came from absolutely nowhere for yellow. It came from the top, of course, and they seem to be having pretty decent army. And that means quite deep trouble right now for Superas, because of course he's going for double Turma, 1 Murmillo, and he definitely could be using a whole lot more Murmillos because of the raiding cavalry coming from the Thor. On the left, or rather on the left, are still seeing pretty decent cavalry, but unfortunately those oracles still giving up the position, and Skyfire, of course, through Hathor. So we're gonna see where the Migdal is gonna be dropped. This is not a bad position from Migdal, actually. It's a very nice one, right next to gold and quite close by to the town center. And we will be expecting Raiden with Petsuchos and Vajet as going to be somewhere picked up. I have seen him somewhere just a moment ago. Ah, you're here. Probably not going to be picked up then, it seems like, or he's arriving at the same spot. Over scouting by Satana, but to finish my thought, well, Chariot Archers from Dra will quite soon be coming into play. Forest Fire has been cast in... Why in here? That was a defensive Forest Fire, but I think that was absolutely terrible idea, because it basically opened his home base to attack from any kind of side. It was actually a pretty good forest for defense. So yeah, careful with the Forest Fire next time, but we are seeing medium cavalry already, and that's one hell of a Raiden all across the map right now. All across the map. Well, of course they are going to be targeting Skyfire, and to open him a bit more into the Raiden. This guy is not going to be enough to deal with this army, of course. So yeah, let's see. And at the back, DC has been already captured. And oh my, come on, leave some of those here so that he cannot retreat. Exactly, as we are seeing that the market is going to be attempted to be built with Skyfire trying to hop into the Mythical Age. Not a bad idea at all. Purple is what color? 5? Well, good guess. He doesn't have the resources, he doesn't have the food at all. So yeah, not really ideal, and this is, oh my, this is super horrible, because he's not even absolutely aware. He's probably right now paying attention to the cavalry, so not chariot archers for him against red, but he is absolutely getting slaughtered at the back. That's almost like locusts. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, I don't know, about 7, 8, 9 villages, and still dying all the time. But we are also seeing something like that on the right, as unfortunately Bestulf Saga has found himself in a pretty tough spot, as this is basically closed off meadow, and there was absolutely no retreat from him. So he's gonna lose the Ox Cart and potentially some extra release. Well, but it's a Santana is going to be coming to the rescue, and not even this army tagging from Scarfire is going to be enough in there. On the left though, a bit of a problem for Raven, or rather for Legend Jarl, as we are seeing Locust being cast with a very nice radiant through the rock, but needs to be careful, as he's probably gonna die now. Very nice Truma heroes from Satana, who is already at 3 TCs, but to return back to the battle on the left, where Raven Girl is doing a pretty good job against Legend Jarl. Even though Raven Girl is having 2 TCs the same as Legend Jarl, she is right now in all the army on the left, whereas of course red is spread across the map, which is of course not ideal for him, and that means that he is having problems in the defense and maybe wanted to call upon the towers. So far we don't really see the upgrade, but he should be super careful because this position is really kinda tough for him, and he's going to be facing a lot of murmills, a lot more than on the right, so it's going to be all about micro. If he can somehow get exactly this, this is absolutely super from him. Unfortunately not all that game from Raven Girl, because he is going to be able to get rid of the Turmas first, and then, yeah, he's just going to be running back, and Robin Axman will be dealing with the Murmill also. Pretty good spot for the fight. In the meantime, on the right, continue trading, as Skyfire is still having some cavalry inside the bases in here. Doing a pretty good job, but we are seeing Chaos and Chaos being cast from both players, as interestingly enough they are not going through Theia, either of them, as Oranoses, who that's definitely curious to see, from both sides, and yeah, that's basically kind of random army fighting in here, and it means that not much is going to be happening, and the battlefield is probably not going to be moving a whole lot. But it still looks like that Satana is going to be basically sticking with Bestulf Sark, or maybe guarding him, because you are right now looking at the top that Bestulf Sark is already having a pretty decent amount of stuff at the top Raiden, and this is very nice clever use of Shifting Sands right on top of the villages. But I think it's a bit of a shame that he doesn't have any siege towers, because he could be quite decently surprising. You see at the back, even though there is some kind of defense from Bestulf Sark in the boar, and of course a bit of army from Satana. But really, I think that would have been a bit better potential. Right now he has to retreat, and he should be sacrificing the budget, because the budget is not getting away, probably, most probably, whereas those guys could be already running somewhere else, and hoping that right now it's going to be a good spot for him. But under the fire of the tower, Yep, not all that clear on that. He just needs to get rid of the get rid of the priest with the Turmas. Come on. Then the boars will of course deal with the rest. Without any kind of problem, but so far not happening. So let's move somewhere else on the battlefield, as yellow player is trying to move through the bottom. Probably not going to be finding anything all that interesting, but in the middle, Raven Girl is switching a bit into the pocket, whereas Legend Jarl has been able to finish with the front DC, which is super important for his game right now, but Raven Girl going for the one at the back as well, and seems to be stabilizing the situation, and of course he needs to get control of this gold, and the gold on the left as well, because behind his base, this one is running out, and there's not much extra, because this one will run out pretty soon as well. Well, bit of raiding, of course, going on, as yellow is doing all he can against his opponents. So that's a pretty good raiding right now from yellow, as it's even forcing a bit of retreat from the blue player. And in the middle, we are seeing that Satana is basically moving forward, and he's moving forward together with Legend Jarl, and they seem to be aiming literally into the pocket. Maybe on the gold and the army just right now attempting to be built, as Skyfire is going for a 30C, and is he even going for the mythic that we have seen the market set up quite a lot earlier, but doesn't seem so. So yep, let's see. Maybe we'll get the technologies as some kind of info in there. Legend Jarl, medium infantry, heavy archers, and carpenters for Satana, and super as medium infantry shaft mine. So you can see that Satana is a bit better off on the upgrades. There's yet again raiding. They're doing so well in the raiding, but of course that's because Vesulfsark with Legend Jarl are basically the only ones who are even attempting any kind of walling. Right now going to be plugging it, and unfortunately their teammate in the pocket, Satana, is not walling at all, and that's exactly what is allowing all these guys to push, rather to get through and make life of those dwarfies on the gold a lot more difficult than it should have been. Raiding on the gold. And again, on the purple player, as we are seeing Superas taking back TC. It's going to be his first extra. Yep, pretty decent raiding. And pretty big problem for Skyfire. And well, it seems like that he is forcing at least a few units to go back to defense, especially from Raven Girl as well. And we are looking also on a pretty interesting movement on the left. Legend Jarl is with his medium throwing axemen already, with baseline of upgrades and some Ulf Jarls already coming almost next to his base, so he definitely could be in a pretty good spot to go for it, but he will need some extra, I don't know, maybe Mythical Age and a bit of Siege. But in the meantime, let's check this raiding at the top, as Skyfire is really having a pretty tough game as far as his villagers are concerned. Yeah, those Turmas are not really going to be enough. As of course, those medium raiders are a whole lot stronger, and especially are having Pierce Armor 47%. So, yep, that's pretty decent, but we mustn't forget that there is also going on a bit of an attack in the middle, where Vesulfsark EUV is having his hands full together with his Santana to deal with the problem at hand. Interesting building of Siege Works and potentially even Steel TC. Stealing TC by Skyfire, but he sent just 2 villages, and of course it's not going to be enough, as we are seeing Heroic Age coming up from Raven Girl and Shockwave also. So, Mythical Age of course has been already reached by Satana. He's already through for the Vortex, and well, he seems to be switching into pretty much a correct unit, as they need a bit of siege, and they might be exactly looking at pushing through the wall and getting basically into the middle, into Skyfire, and that's not a bad choice at all, as he is yet again going to be breaching through, but this time not with cavalry, but attempting to do something with siege towers. Not going to be working all that much. You can see even villages who started getting rid of it, whereas on the left we are seeing a pretty good army already ready by Legend Jarl with all those boars, and basically waiting for friendly weapons, and they will probably be coming into play once the Ragnarok hits. Let's see if there's going to be something that will come up reasonably soon. We see already 45 DCs, so basically full on booming right now by red. As he's looking for green, having bronze shields. Yeah, that's not going to be working against throwing axemen all that much. Bronze shields, copper mail, copper weapons, that's a whole lot better. And of course you can see it in the army. He's absolutely wrecking his opponent. even though he's having at least medium Murmilos, but the Palace units with the Archive, that could be some kind of answer, especially if he is able to get them against all those throwing X-Men. On TC right now coming for Superas as well, as we are also looking at the Sufsar capturing his front TC, and that's the important one that will help him, as it's in the middle of the map and will be controlling where either of the sides is going to be moving and able to move overall. Well, this is a pretty good spot for defense for Skyfire, to be honest, so they should be probably trying to look somewhere else. As this is probably not going to be a good spot to breach through, unless we get a lot of Fire Giants sometime soon. Nice attempt. Right now through the left, also with some towers coming up, and we are also seeing that Vesulsark is not really going to be joining into the middle all that much. He seems to be a bit more veering to the right to basically fight against Superas, and he should be using the advantage of numbers that he's right now having, because before, well, wasn't really for long. It's already 3 TC Sarah for the yellow player as well. And looking here, copper, whereas blue is how up. Just copper shields, not really all that great, as we are seeing that the attack on the left has been repelled, and that also because of the Steam Falling Embers, of course, as they are making a whole lot of difference, and the Palace will be making a difference as well, but for that it is finished. And of course, 45 TC is not going to be any bad idea at all either. So basically all 6 players right now are entering a bit of a late-ish game, as they are all at 3 TCs, getting the 45s and basically all the population limit and such. Let's check the technologies. H4, well, they're already coming up for Legend Jarl. And that's pretty much it. Bronze weapons for Thor also, so he's going to be having so super strong. That's going to be a really strong Ragnarok from him, pretty good upgrades, and I'm fairly certain that he's already boomed basically to the map, to the max. So yeah, that's going to be really tough for Suits to deal with, as they are right now going to be staring through more of the abyss. Yellow so far doing what he can to stop his opponent, but he is just basically right now waiting for the Mythical Age with the Balder, so I'm fairly certain about it. Is going to be investing a bit more upgrades, of course, into coppers, getting 4 bronze potentially, and we are seeing a very good push actually in the middle from Satan against Skyfire, which is potentially slightly surprising, but he's definitely going for it, as Ragnarok is being called, as he's just building right in the middle of opponent's base, basically, a palace, and it seems to be succeeding because he does have the support of the units. You can see that he's gonna be coming down with the Migdol pretty soon. Yeah, those villages are not going to be enough. So that's goodbye Migdol and Palace up, which means that this part of the map is coming into it's a Satana's power, and of course that's a pretty big problem for Skyfire, as he will be forced into full-on defensive, even though he is trying to establish himself a bit to the right. Not exactly sure why, if he's just missing the upgrades. Oh, sorry. Getting those resources now, probably. Yeah, seems to be wanting to get a bit of a spike in the power, and Legend Jarl of course calling on the flaming weapons, and this will be absolute total annihilation of Raven Girl, because there's not much that she could be doing against this, because Heroes of Ragnarok with bronze, copper and iron shields even on top of that, this is a super important upgrade, the iron shields, because defense against not only DCs but also the Archive, which are basically the most important counterplay to Heroes of Ragnarok. And this copper mail not going to be finished. This is basically unsolvable situation right now for Raven Girl if she doesn't receive any help, and since the pocket player is having his hands full with his opponent Satana, this is looking quite dire, especially with a little help by Legend Jarl. And on the right, so far, not much happening about Vesulsar, but he's probably waiting for the Ragnarok of his own. Let's check. So far, not just bronze shields for him, but he definitely should be joining in here, so that he doesn't let his player actually do whatever he wants. Goodbye TC for Raven Girl. It's going to be easily stolen for him. Superas going for a Helios. That's interesting to note. As of course yet another TC is gonna get killed for Raven Girl, as he's even killing some villagers in here, Legend Jarl. And well, that's going to be down to 1 TC, and of course she's getting absolutely hammered. There's limited options what the Atlantean can do in a stage of the game like this. So well played on the left so far, but moving on to the right, it seems like Besulsak really should be doing a whole lot more into attack, which he right now finally is, attempting to build the palace, which is basically one of the most important buildings in the Heroic Age, and Heroic Age Plus basically. And we are of course going to be looking into the middle as well, as it's really looking like that right now it's gonna get a bit tougher for Satana, because mercenaries are coming into play, but I definitely don't like that we are still missing fortified TC, as of course it's going to be making all that easier and faster for the red player to get rid of the town center, and oh my, of those villages as well. Yeah, tough times coming in here. Wave coming up into the battlefield on the right, as this is basically gonna go just one way. And moving on, medium archive baseline of upgrades. Formula seems to be just medium as well, and we are seeing that medium raider still, but bronze mail, bronze shields. There's of course pretty good help for him, and let's see how the Heka Gigant could be helping. There is still at least one hero of Ragnarok. He could be having a bit of a 1v1 with him. They should be able to overpower this giant without any kind of problem. As we are seeing Vortex from Satnara, as he doesn't really see any use in fighting against purple player, as he is in the hands of Legend Jarl, and of course Vortex into Rex, into Yellow's base, and that's a GG and very nice game. Very nice game indeed, well played by all 6 players, but of course there could be only one victor. Nice game, let's check into the post game. Legend Jarl, I agreed, he was playing well, but I really like the pocket play of Satana. He was at the correct places when he should be. So yeah, that's exactly what's important when you play pocket, to be exactly where your teammates need you. And he was there for best Ulfsark exactly in the moments where he was in trouble. So, well played in there. Fortunate ratio. But that's also because of the Ragnarok, but so cannot really be taken all that seriously. Well, GG. It was a really nice game.